How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions. And of course, I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back. And these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. And today, we're going to talk about fear. Now, I made videos about this before, but I feel like whenever it comes up, I'm going to talk and re-talk and revisit subjects that I really feel like we need to look at, right? And fear is huge. It is huge, you guys. This isn't just for people who have awakened on the spiritual journey. We all deal with fear. And what the crazy thing is, fear is made up, right? Like, it's an expectation of a false emotion or an emotion. It's an expectation of an emotion. And what does that tell us? That it is something that we've conjured up for ourselves. And I always resort that back to our brain has a mechanism in it that programs, it's from previous programming, that you'll be in a place where your brain is trying to save you, like the fight or flight response, and that mechanism is used for any situation. And that could be a situation where you're trying to actually change your life for the betterment of yourself or even the people around you, but you're too afraid to actually do that, and that's your brain trying to save you. So when I talk about fear needs to be embraced, or it gets to be embraced. And the one thing that you can always hear from people who've made it, like who are celebrities or high level people, or even people who have made it in their spiritual journey, right? Their mission that I believe that every one of us has, because every one of us has a purpose on planet Earth. And when we reach, and this fear can come in any way, guys. It's not just finding your purpose. Fear can come up in relationships, like being stuck in a relationship and having the fear to get out of it because you've gotten used to being in that relationship, and it's a relationship on convenience. Now, not only that, it could be used where, like, you want to quit one job, but it's, you're so stuck in it, or you're used to it, and you're fearful of what's going to happen, even if there was like so sometimes we need an incentive, like it's going to be a bump in pay. But what if it wasn't a bump in pay, but what it really was is an opportunity for growth, but you're going to actually take $1 or $2 off? Most people won't take that option, even though in the long run, that second option is going to make them a substantial difference and life-changing experience. But because that little detail, which is all based off of a fear, right? And that is the hardest thing. And I believe, you guys, when we visit fear, we get to reprogram ourselves on how we look at it. I've said this in another video. I believe that it's in the Eddie Life Hacks. Check that series out too, you guys. And it's an ongoing series. I'm working on, multiple series, but when I'm talking about fear, program it to when you see it. Well, obviously, you guys, we have fear for a reason, right? Don't go do something silly, and then use this video and say that, well, I was supposed to tackle fear, so I went and jumped off the building. Like, no, obviously use your own discernment, right? But program yourself, know thyself. It's a mastery of yourself. And that's this journey. Like, you get to master yourself. When you finally get to a point, you guys, where you know the red flags of self-defeating behaviors, you're empowering yourself. So when you start feeling that queasy feeling of like, oh, I don't want to do that, that doesn't sound good, blah, 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 stop yourself. Grab a piece of paper and a pen, or call your mentor, or call your best friend if you don't have a mentor. Call someone who's neutral. Hey, this is what I'm going through. What do you think about this? When you bounce your ideas off someone else, you get a neutral standpoint. Don't talk to someone who's a friend of me. They ain't gonna give you good advice. They want your detriment. Don't do that. Got other videos on that as well. So you give yourself a second to think about what you're doing before you do it, right? And also when you have this is why it's good. It's a good tool. Whenever I feel fear, I ask myself, why am I feeling this fear? As opposed to before, oh, I need to go hide and protect myself, or let me stop this conversation because I'm fearful of it. No, now I get a chance to visit it and actually discern what it means. Why am I doing that? And then if there's a deeper rooted issue, work through that deep seated issue. For example, I'll give an example of this. Okay, so I'm making a video. Okay, so this happened with making a video about masturbation. I was afraid to make that video for 3 friggin' months. It stood in my mind because I was scared of how others would perceive me. So that is a fear, right? I was fearful that others were going to see me in a certain light, that I was either like a pervert or I was a deviant or whatever the case is, right? But I was projecting the thoughts that I was thinking about that subject on others, right? So it's got nothing to do with the audience, and it was taking away from the beautiful advice in that video. Now, you guys, the only difference that I have finding myself and others is that I will be brutally honest. I will give you the information even if it scares the heck out of me. And doing this, I've actually empowered myself. This is a beautiful transmutation of energy. I no longer allow the fear to cripple me as opposed to it doing it before. Now I embrace it. But for that example, for 3 months, I couldn't think about anything else because I was like fighting with myself. But that's the beauty in all of it. So when you're working towards your goals, you're going to have lessons within lessons. So for me, it was self-worth issues, right? I had to work through those. And then it was the next notch. Then I started working through, when I actually started making the video, I made that video 100 different ways. And the way that it came out is the way that it was supposed to come out. And I may even done versions of that one video, but it also showed me another thing. I wasn't at the place to put that content out because I wasn't practicing it with the full extent of it. So I didn't know how good that product would have worked, right? That I was selling. So that's another lesson within that, right? But my fear, my projection of what that emotion is, that's false already. It's a barrier that I have made for myself, right? I put myself in a box and I couldn't get myself out of it for a while. And then finally when I released the video, then that fear went away. And then a new fear came out. What if people do think that? Did people think it? No. It's a really good video. It has an informational, it's honest, it's how I felt, it's what I feel, and it does work, right? I had practiced it for a long time where it was thorough, and I believed in the actual product, right? Now, if I would have let fear hold me there, it could have binded me there for a long period of time. 3 months is already a long time. And that's what I'm talking about. Fear it literally binds us to people, places, and things, and it shouldn't have that power. And the only way that you're going to break through it is you have to visit it, meet it exactly where it stands. Logging, scripting, subliminals, all our work towards reprogramming of your mind. You need to look at fear as if it was a spotlight on what you're actually fearful of and why you're fearful of it. And if you meet it at those terms, you realize that fear is only it's not the brake pedal, it's the gas pedal. I think I landed that plane already. I love you guys, man. I just feel like that was a huge one. And I know that for a lot of light workers out there is that we, in the beginning of this, man, and it's not something that goes away. I have just as much fear as I had from day one. You know, it's just that I tackle the fear when it comes, as opposed to it crippling me and poisoning me, right? Me holding on to that poison, and it's not doing anything for me. And it won't do anything for you. And you won't go places, you won't further progress until you actually meet it. For me, I had burned in my heart a whole bunch of different desires, right? And I never did any of them because of fear. Now, I know that if I don't do these things, I will be in regret for the rest of my life. So I am taking it one thing at a time. I'm not, instead of eating the whole elephant, I take one piece at a time. And that's great advice, you guys, for you. It's like, whatever, if you could just take a little piece at a time of what you're doing, make just baby steps if you have to towards your dreams, go for it, because they're worth it. Anything that you have in your heart space that you want to do, you need to do it, because that is put there for a reason. God put that there for you to grow. And it may not be the end all be all, but it's definitely taking you steps to where you need to go. I know that for a fact. All right, guys, I love you guys so much. That's all I got on this video. Make sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, holla.